And at this time, I am very excited to introduce Denny Grimes. Denny Grimes, right over here, right? Denny has 40 years of residential sales experience and runs a seventh level team and a mega agent expansion office in Southwest Florida. Denny is an experienced real estate speaker and a MAPS Bold coach. And any of you that have taken Bold, you know how exciting that course is. And I was not present to have Denny be the leader, but I can only imagine how dynamic he would be as a Bold coach. He's ready to share his very best practices and strategies in today's market, the ever-changing market. So let's welcome Denny Grimes.
Hi, let's be honest, you're applauding because I'm the last one, right? You're staying for the drawing. Thank you for waiting. I've been talking to a couple of people. Anyway, great to be here. I've been up in Punta Gorda, a number of times teaching for Larson when I did that, and I know you've driven, maybe some of y'all from the East Coast, as far south as Naples. I didn't know Collier County people ever came this far north, right? So anyway, I'm going to be standing over here for a little bit so I can have access to my clicker, and I might walk around if I feel comfortable that the clicker might work. So I want you to take down my email address, CoachDannyGrimes@gmail, CoachDannyGrimes@gmail, or take a picture of it. You're welcome to take a picture of any of the slides, and I will share the slides with you if you'd like. The whole gig here is going to be, I know we're running a little bit late. Listen, I grew up in a church where the pastor paid no attention to the clock. I swore I would never be like that. So I'm not going to keep you long. I'm going to go fast. If you have any questions, we can talk about it. I'm a boots on the ground practitioner. So you got my email address. One more thing I want you to take note of is that I have a YouTube channel that you can subscribe to. There's probably 100 videos, and every Friday, we had it today, every Friday from 1 to 2 Eastern, we have an hour's worth of free mastery level conversations. We practice what's called question-based listening enhanced conversations. Have you noticed that people don't listen much anymore? And listening is really our stock and trade. And what's really interesting about that, and we'll talk about the conversations. In fact, even in MAPS and Bold, if you're with Keller Williams, you know what I'm talking about with Bold and MAPS. We're not even allowed to say the word script anymore. It's a conversation. Now, doesn't that make a whole lot of sense? Now, we have, in Keller Williams, we have fun things like script offs. We're always fun. It's fun. It's like watching. Anybody here play golf? Anybody ever see the long drive contest on TV? Those guys can hit the crap out of the ball, but they can't play professional golf. They're just long ball hitters. That's what a script off is, because it's not realistic, you guys, in my opinion, when somebody has a concern that we can pull a script out of our quiver and in 30 seconds or 60 seconds or less solve all the problems. Does that make sense to you? So anyway, that's available to you if you want. Moving forward, I'm going to borrow some of Gary Keller's information. Are you ready for war? 40 years, I've seen quite a bit of changes in the market. And Gary says it's time to paint up because we're going from a speed market to what? A skill-based market. There's agents that have been in real estate for a couple of years that have no earthly idea what it means to service a listing past 7 days. They don't even know what expired is. And let me ask you this, okay? Were you in real estate somewhere here in the country, or particularly in Southwest Florida, in 2005, 6, 7? I had no hair, no gray hair until that happened. Now I basically have some hair, but it's turned gray from the last turn down. Gary says, make no mistake about it, a shift is happening. And I believe that you guys and I did not have the opportunity to be here to hear everybody else. So help me understand, is there a general consensus in the audience that the market's changing?
Yes.
Yes.
Oh, yes.
I heard of that.
Yes.
Okay. Well, what's interesting, and I don't know if you've ever seen that one of the funniest videos out there you can find on YouTube is called The Nail in the Forehead. If you've never seen it, write it down. Don't Google it now and watch that. It's about 1 minute and 15 seconds a lady's got a nail right in the middle of her forehead saying, she's talking to her significant other saying, I've got a pain. The guy says, well, you got a nail. Don't tell me about the nail. I just want somebody to listen to me. And what's interesting about that story and how it ties into the market, there is a group in the real estate related industries that don't want to talk about the nail in the forehead, which is that prices can and will go down. Now we're like professional golfers. With a golf tournament and the PGA, and I know there's this other live thing if you're following that, but if you're a PGA golfer, your tournament's 4 days. Are you guaranteed what the weather will be like each and every day? So you have great days to play golf, you have rainy days to play golf, it's windy, the conditions change, yet the game is the same. We adjust our techniques. Real estate's the same way. Do not fear a market change, because what Gary says, it becomes the opportunity for us to pick up market share. Do you believe that?
Yes.
The email he sent out in May, and I'll just read this, it's very long. There are two markets, up and down, easy and hard, peacetime and wartime. This means our ability to survive and thrive is dependent on our ability to pivot from peacetime to wartime. So it's time to paint up. Now, if you work in Southwest Florida, you probably understand what the term means, snowbird, right? You can spot a snowbird a mile away. Why? Because they're in the left lane driving slow, right? We have all those jokes. So let's talk about how people really make their decision, in my opinion, to move to the great state of Florida. So can we agree, and I know the red's not showing up, but if you look really close, I just drew a line somewhere in middle America and pointed the arrow to the right. I know we're getting some people from California, but is it generally acceptable that a lot of our market comes from that Mississippi or middle America to the east? Yes. Can you accept that? Yes. So when they're thinking about retiring, moving to someplace warmer, I believe this is a thought process, and this is important for what I'm going to talk to you about next. They have to make a decision first. I believe their first decision, as they discuss it, they want to go somewhere warm. The question is, do I want to go to Arizona or to Florida? Have you met anyone that's looking at both areas? Now, my wife has a home. I mean, she has her businesses in Scottsdale, so we have a home there, home here, and it's amazing. They get their share, Phoenix gets their share, we get our share. Let's assume now they decide they want to live in Florida. Their next decision is, I have discovered is, do I want to be on the East Coast, West Coast? That's kind of like they're different. Have you noticed they're different? Have you been over there? And there were people here from the East Coast, just a minute ago, Michael left, right? Then if they decide to be on the West Coast, here's the decision I think they make. They're looking somewhere between maybe Tampa and Naples. And I don't think we have a lot of competition from Tampa. I really think it's Naples to Sarasota.
Yep. Yes.
Now, do you know why, if you go back, how many people watched Yellowstone? That was awesome. Do you know why they call those people settlers? They settled. They never made it. In fact, they settled, which then goes into, what am I thinking of? Not Yellowstone, it's 1883 that turned into Yellowstone, right? They settled, they stopped. So people settle. Do you understand that? Like, for example, anybody here married? All right, more than once? No, I'm just kidding. Okay, so, now I'm not saying your spouse settled. I'm just letting you know, I had a conversation with my wife too late. How many people heard the 5 love languages? She said hers was gifts. I thought, yeah, I thought that meant she liked to give them. No, she likes somebody to give her gifts. Well, when it comes to settling, I found out her vision of a great catch was Thor. Thor just came out. We had to go see the movie. It's the worst movie ever, but she didn't complain about it, right? And you know, she had to settle. She settled for Bill Murray. Now, I look in the mirror and think I look like Thor, but everyone tells me I look like Bill Murray. So, okay, so you understand the settling part. Don't nod your head. I'll talk a long time, okay? Now let me give you kind of a 6 or 7 minute summary of a market trend / market watch program that I've been giving in Southwest Florida for the last 25 years. We're now starting to incorporate Charlotte County. Now the reason I talk about the settling is this, and don't be offended by this, I'm talking a little bit tongue-in-cheek. Everyone wants to live in Naples. I know you're saying no, you gotta be honest, they want to live in Naples. And what do? They drive north until they what? Settle somewhere that makes sense for them. Now again, I'm just telling you, that's why I said that. It's a little tongue-in-cheek. And when I travel a lot as a bowl coach or whatever, and I used to say Fort Myers, and I say Naples, and they go like, oh, I know where Naples is. And my wife always has to outdo me because she's from Alaska. And when she mentions Alaska, I'm totally out of the conversation. So don't take that, I was just kidding, so don't take it too personally. We're starting to pay a lot of attention to Charlotte County, and I'm going to show you why. Because you guys are probably one of the best values in Florida. Finally, I get a yes. Okay, you like me again. Okay, who remembers this movie? Here's what I need your help. So there's no audio on the computer. I have no earthly idea where the sound comes from that. So here we go. Who remembers the movie?
I brought you a special present.
Oh, yeah.
Easy. Open it up. That's right. When I was your age, television was called books. And this is a special book. It was the book my father used to read to me when I was sick, and I used to read it to your father. And today, I'm going to read it to you.
Is there any sports in it?
Are you kidding? Fencing, fighting, torture, revenge, giants, monsters, chases, escapes, true love, miracles.
Doesn't sound too bad. I'll try and stay awake.
Oh, well, thank you very much. Very nice. Your vote of confidence is overwhelming.
What's the name of the movie?
Princess Bride.
There you go. Guys, how many people are going to admit they've seen Princess Bride more than one time, right? Yes. That was my daughter's favorite VCR when I would put that in for her. So, I'm going to make a prediction. This is how I started Market Trends out in March, and I'm totally serious about it. I'm going to give you a prediction, and it's stone cold lock. You can take it to the bank, guaranteed. Prediction number 1. At some point in your life, depending on how old you are, you're going to have your grandbabies on your lap, like this gentleman here. And you're going to talk to them about the greatest story that ever was, which is the greatest market that ever was the market of 2021. It will never come back.
Never.
Never, ever, ever.
Never. So, any pushback on that? You got quiet.
How do you know? How do you know, Denny?
Okay, he says similar to 0506. Well, hey, look, I'm one of you. You don't have to agree. I'm just saying we'll never see what happened in 21 again. And I don't think we need to. Fair enough? So let's go forward. So, great comparison. So, I mean, here is the issue that we're dealing with right now with the media. And Gary Keller made a smart statement, and I'll get to it in a second, about Gary says he wants us to be the local economist of choice to our clientele. Does that make sense? Mm-hmm. We should be able to tell them what's going on, and there's a way to do that. Part of the thing that's going on in the media right now is they're comparing. They love to compare year over year. Now, are there any football fans here? Of course. Okay, on the count of 3, just all together, I want you to name your favorite team. 1, 2, 3. Gators. Gators? Seriously? You are into pain. No, okay, so who remembers the 1972 Dolphins?
Yes.
17-0, the perfect season. Now, how many years have taken place? You know, there's been a Super Bowl champion every year since 1972. A champion. And they've never had a perfect record. When people compare to what's going on right now to 2021 and the better part of 2020, it's going to look like our market is slowing or failing, and it's not. So I don't know how long your attention span is there, but I'm going to get a little ahead of myself. Make a note before your dot off or start playing Candy Crush. Make this note. Start comparing what's going on with 2019. That was the last rational year we had. Now, I'm not complaining about the last 2 years. However, our median sales price went between Charlotte County, Lee County, and Naples, somewhere between 50 and 70% change in the pricing in 2 years. That's not sustainable. Veterans, somebody say amen. Amen. Thank you. And again, when you actually compare, I really think that, you know, if you compare Bill Murray to somebody other than Thor, he's not so bad, okay? He's just not so bad. Now, because people go through a process of deciding if they want to live in Florida, let me show you how Charlotte County is stacking up based on June of 2022. The median sales price in Florida now, for the very first time, is over $400,000. So look at Collier. Collier is the most expensive. Which county from Sarasota down do you think is next? Sarasota, Lee County, and look here. $400,000 based on June. The realtor organization, I pulled it right off their website. What does that spell to you guys? That is spelled value. And if you want waterfront, there's no better waterfront value than what you offer here in Charlotte County. Now let's look at the change in the median sales price. I'm talking about June, just last month, right? So when you look at Collier, it went up 19%. Florida, on the average of Florida, is 20. Then you go up in order, Lee County, Sarasota County, and who had the largest change in median sales price?
Well,
You guys did. People are paying attention to Charlotte County like never before. And so if you're doing business here, congratulations. And so there we have it. Now I'm going to give you some stats. My stats come from the multiple listing service, and I like Stellar. I think you use Stellar, and we use the Matrix or whatever in Lee County. I'm not using builder data. I'm using MLS data. So this is updated. Most of it's updated for this presentation. When you look at the number of the existing homes sold, those are all red arrows. The red's just not working on the projector. We're seeing a slowing in the number of sales, correct? A lot of people are thinking, well, that's because there's no inventory. Well, that's not really the case. I mean, have you seen anything on the news that was less than positive lately? So when you look at Charlotte County and you look at the number of homes being sold, I went back to 2012, and 2021 was up 16% from 2020. And those, both years were record years. However, a little bit later, I'm going to show you where 2019, remember, is going to be our plumb line moving forward. So I want you to pay attention to 2019. Do not buy into some of the headlines you're going to see. Now, sellers certainly have enjoyed the rising prices in the last 30 months. And this cartoon came out, which I thought was pretty cool. If you can't read it, it says, "We really like to look at something a little higher in price." She says, "Well, okay, I'll show you the same house again tomorrow." And it led me to an idea. Here's a question I was thinking about when I go by the gas station. How many of you guys have a habit, every time you go to the gas station, you glance at how much is it today, right? And now it's coming down. We saw a $3 something somewhere around here somewhere. So anyway, so I gave me the idea, you know, that house prices are going up like gas prices. So why don't we create, this is an idea, why don't we create a sign that would change like a gas pump? And so this is day one on the market. So you're going to have an open house the next day. And so what you do is you just go on your phone, you've got an app, and you can you got somebody really interested in it now. All we're going to do is keep pushing it up. And I think this would be a great money-making idea. What do you think? We used to make fun. Remember the days we would make fun of sellers that would use Zestimates, and we would laugh, ha ha ha, it would never be worth that. 2021 was the first year that the Zestimate was low, and the sellers figured out how to figure it out. They took the Zestimate and multiplied it by the zip code, and that's what they listed it at, right? Now, when you talk about affordability, I'm going back here to March, and it's surprising. And I moved to Fort Myers in the '60s. Yeah, Tom Edison and I used to play Archie together. And so, when you think of affordability, almost you can't think of Charlotte County anymore. You have to go inland to start finding affordability. Because you look at that, I mean, you've got how many houses that are $500,000 or more, or what the other side of that coin is, how many are workforce housing under $250,000. Here's the next thing, okay, so there's three numbers, write these things down, this will be in your notes. There's three things I want you to start paying attention to. It's going to be the number of homes sold, the change year over year, the change in median sales price, and the change in inventory. You will be a rock star local economist of choice if you can track those three numbers. Now this is a slide from 2021 compared to 2020. Median home price, okay? I'm going to break this down. That's the same slide I used in March. So Collier was leading the way. And so when you look at Charlotte County, let's look what happened in your prices. It's up 21% from 20 to 21. However, look at this. This is January 20 to January 22. So that's a 2-year period. It went from 240,000 to 359. That's a 50% increase. Now you guys witnessed this. You saw this, right? We saw bidding wars. We did our CMAs and we multiplied it by something and we were still whacked out at how much it sold for. You understand that was fun. I trust you understand it can't keep going. And the market is correcting now. So when you look at this slide, this is June 2000. This is the year. Now I'm going to go back a slide. The 2 years was 50%. The last year, June 21 to June 22 is up 24. What's happening? It's starting to slow down a little bit. You felt it, and that's what's going on. I want to show you now this year. What's happening, you guys?
Leveling out.
It is leveling out. Now, what's interesting, I mean, let's just be honest here just a second with each other, all right? What do you think a buyer thinks when he hears the word, the market is correcting?
Prices are going to come down.
Down? No, they're thinking they're going to Publix on a buy one, get one free deal. That's what they're thinking. I think right now, and it's very fair to say, that the market is correcting. It's not going to crash. That does not mean prices aren't going to go down. Collier County, the last 2 months, I've documented that the median price has fallen. Lee County last month was the first time I had a little blip. I haven't documented it here yet. However, don't be afraid of that. It's going to do what it's going to do. And we can't change it. Something else I found interesting, I thought I'd show you this slide. This is not really rocket science. You know 33921, I think that's a Gasparilla area, right? I don't live up here. Isn't that the island in Charlotte County, Gasparilla and Buckle Grand and that? That was your #1 zip code last year with a 52% increase in value. And when you go to Lee and you go to Collier, it's no big rocket science that it's the coastal areas that are really showing that. Again, these slides are available if you want. Here's what we want to watch. This is a number of new listings coming on the market so far this year. Inventory's up in the last 6 months in Charlotte by 12%, Lee by 8%, and Collier is down, strange enough, by 3%. However, I want you to look at this, the last 90 days. Now, at the very top of the last 90 days, Charlotte's up 17, Lee's up 12, Collier's up 5. You guys not seeing more houses coming on the market?
Yes.
That is, right here, you guys, remember I said number of sales, median sales price, inventory. I just went to the MLS, it's a print out by month how many new listings are coming on the market. When you see inventory changing, it's like the barometric pressure changing in a hurricane season. That means there's a low pressure and watch out, something's coming your way. That's what's happened in the real estate market. So on your land sales, this is a year-over-year stuff. You guys know this. Look at, you had a 97% increase in the number of vacant lots sold, and that's pretty cool. I didn't update it for this presentation. I just think that's pretty cool. We saw the same thing in Lee County. Let me go back. I went too fast. Which county in Southwest Florida had the largest percent increase in luxury sales? Well, if you look at this, here's Lee and Collier. Lee, this is like 1 million to 5 million. Lee had a 109% increase. You know what was driving our luxury market, you guys? People were coming from other markets outside the state that they could be urban markets, and they come down here, they can't believe how cheap things are. And so a $1 million house or a $5 or a $20 million house is like half price. It's like when we take a cruise and go to Mexico, we buy perfumes, watches, and whatever because we can't believe the prices. The locals don't do that. In fact, I've never seen this in my 40 years. There used to be an axiom I said to people, the real estate agents, Tom, how you can always guarantee when you overprice a listing is when the neighbors agree with the price. No. When the neighbors don't agree with it, right? The neighbors would be, I can't believe you listed for that, right? It's happening the other way. People are listing their property and the neighbors are coming by, I think you're nuts. Because they got local eyes. It's out of market eyes that see here that we're the value. Sometimes we're so close to it that we don't see it. So we have to remember that in the pricing. So the $1 million, the big stuff, look at this. Collier was up 256% last year. Why? Because you get more for your money here, and you get two or three times for your money than you get in Naples, and maybe twice as much in Lee. That's pretty cool. So it's Charlotte County. It had the largest increase in luxury sales. Now this is the uber luxury. You guys don't really compete in this category yet. I mean, I only did this in the first part of the year. I didn't really do it so far this year. But look at the $5 million plus homes, and up 200% and 75% in Collier, which is pretty cool. Now, what will happen next? Let's wrap this up so we can have the drawings. I think that truck, when you look at that picture, that goes through my mind. I mean, I love looking at pictures and solving things, like where's Waldo? Is that truck going to tip over, or is it going to right itself?
It looks like he's going to have a problem there.
No, he's going to fall.
Well, let's talk about what will happen next. I want to give you prediction number 2. Here's prediction number 2. Your income may be down 30 to 50% in 2022. Unless you do something different, you're going to make less money. Our sales are down. We're retooling. We talk about it in bold. Listen, if you want a different outcome, you're going to have a different input. Fair enough? And I'm not going to use the bad word. I'm not going to use the bad word, lead generation. However, I don't even like that. I don't even like the term lead generation because we never feel like we've done it enough. So this is the way I look at it, you guys. Change the way you look at things, the things you look at change. Lead generation to me is calling people or talking to people you don't know. Lead follow-up is talking to people you know. And sooner, you have to talk to people. I know there's people in this room, I can't even use some of my old material because a lot of my audience does not remember the Waltons. Oh, you guys are 90 over there. Of course you guys are okay.
You already said goodnight.
Good night, John Boy. Right, I had like 15 kids.
Good night, Bob.
You see, people see one transaction in their family. You know, there's 1 million people going through the licensure process right now to get a license because they heard how much people made in real estate. They watched one session of HGTV. That took an hour, and they're making $45,000. I'm going to get me a license. And they find somebody in their family, and they're on a roll. Sooner or later, these people are going to have to work with someone that cares if they're competent or not. So we're going to have to get different, and that'll be okay. Because there's a lot of people have a negative opinion of the market. There's always the naysayers. Anybody here like YouTube? YouTube is my new favorite channel. I watch these people that have these eating contests. I watch these people that go on survival. I watch pet rescues. I watch the billiards. You name it, you can watch it. They also have this series of videos on predictions that the market's going to crash. And they keep coming. So I'm going to make a recommendation, you guys, to get ahead of the news cycle. This was just out 2 days ago. I just did my TV spot on this yesterday. Redfin studied 98 of the top markets in the country and ranked them 1 through 98 on propensity to pop. Say that 3 times fast. Southwest Florida had 2 in the top 5. It went like this: Riverside, California, Boise, Idaho, Cape Coral, Northport, Las Vegas. Wow. That's what I said. Northport. They had, this is what happened. People who write stuff have to create stuff to write about. And so they have this 6 things of information, they throw it into a blender and pour it out. And the important thing about this is this, and I went on TV and I debunked it, and you can have that, you can see it on my YouTube channel. And you can post it, you can do it. In fact, here's the list right here. That's the top 10. Tampa's in there. And I'm not going to spend time telling you about it. I just don't think it's right. And I'm not afraid to call it like it is. I'm not afraid to say the prices are going to fall. In fact, on my TV spot, I said the market's going to continue to soften. It's okay. It doesn't affect our business. It is what it is. So when you see stuff like that, okay, I want you to see this before your clients do, because the news cycle is created when Lawrence Yun from the National Association of Realtors speaks, or Gary Keller, or somebody from Inman, or whatever, and all the other stations pick it up, and they have to create. They don't have reporters to go and get this stuff. They're looking for the easy button. Now your buyers see this. What goes through their mind when they're looking at a home in Northport? Does anybody ever look at homes in Northport? I'm just kind of curious. I'm not even sure where it is, so it's probably north of here. So what I want you to do, write this is your action item. I want you to write this down. I want you to set up Google alerts on the opinion leaders in real estate. A Google alert, if you don't know what it is, just Google it. And anytime something comes out dealing with Charlotte County or whatever real estate, it's going to let you know, go to the article and scan it. And it might give you good fodder because you're looking for meaningful information to give your database anyway. And anyway, get ahead of it. Find the top 5, and it doesn't take much time. Just find the top 5 to do that. And now we're having a lot of talk about the bubble. You guys, I don't have to spend any time on this. This market is nothing similar to 2006, is it?
No.
Why? Can you defend it in an elevator?
Yes.
What? Tell me why. Give me one reason why it's not the same. Yes, sir.
I think 2006 was because we were discovered. Southwest Florida was discovered.
Okay. I thought that was Ponce de Leon or something did all that. All right. Maybe all right after. What else is different about it?
There's not as much fraud.
It's not a financing issue.
It's not a fraud issue.
Fraud. Okay, you're talking about lending practices, right?
Exactly.
What else?
Inventory.
Inventory, yes. One more.
Equity.
Well, we have equity, yes. That's also, we don't have speculation. What drove the 05-06 market was people. I called it the halftime buyer. They were watching a game on the weekend, Florida Gators, and their team was losing, so at halftime, they went to the 7-Eleven to get a 6-pack of beer. And before halftime is over, they would stop by a model center in North Cape Coral and buy 3 houses pre-construction that would be delivered in 6 or 8 or 12 months. We don't have that going on right now. So there's no bubble. People want to say that, they want to write about it because they have nothing else to write about. I want you to be able to defend it. So there is no bubble. So there's a lot of people, there's some reasons why I think we should be looking up, that our market still will be outperforming the rest of the country. There's still a pretty big desire for people to live here, particularly from the Midwest and we say the blue states. In fact, when you look at the highest overall population growth in 2021, Florida is supposed to be number 2 behind Texas, and I've read we're supposed to be the number 1 in-migration state. And I'm not really sure what the difference is between the new population and in-migration. However, we're going to rank up there. Florida, Texas, Arizona. So we do not, this is worth remembering, you guys, we do not have a demand problem, correct? And what the reason is, this is what we offer, and I'm a big believer in protecting this. Water, warmth, and way of life. California has water and warmth, but their way of life is not what I want. So whatever you need to do to protect the people that are running our schools and running our police departments or whatever, it's the way of life that will be our differential advantage. If you think that's an applause, wait till I'm done, because I'll be done. Right? So, I'm going to give you the last couple points here fast, because it's like right top of the hour. The wine is chilling. We just covered this. The market is shifting. I got a little ahead of myself. I told you to be the local economist of choice. Follow three things: to change the number of sales, median sales price change, and change in inventory. Set up Google alerts. All right, we've already done that. Understand when the shift happens. I have been speaking at the Market Watch event, which is the biggest real estate event of the year, the biggest real estate event of its kind in the country. We'll have, when the market was really blowing and going, we'd have 2,000 people. We had 1,000 people in March. Come in to hear what's going to happen in the market. And I can tell you, I'm very embarrassed, and I finally have the realization there are no predictions in the market, there's only guesses. I don't want you to be a guesser. That's not how we win in this market. Don't tell your buyers and sellers what the market's going to do. That's like you telling your neighbors what the $1 billion Powerball number will be on Saturday. You can study all past Powerball numbers until the cows come home. It does not help you pick the next number, does it? So the sellers still think the market's like that, and that's why you'd want to listen to the role play class that we have, because it's all free. It's how do you handle that, because that was nice. The buyers are now pushing back. That's a conversation. You got to remember the golden rule. He who has the gold makes the rules. And I won't take the time. I ask the question, who controls the market? And it's the buyers. Now, when you see sales slow, I don't want you to be confused. There is not a shortage of buyers. Whenever there's a dip in sales, there's a shortage of realistic sellers. If you had any of your listings lower their price, cut it in half, every one of them would sell. So the buyers are there. They just have to basically have the seller come to them. Number three, important, your guess does not matter. Can you talk to a buyer and seller and not tell them what's going to happen in the future? Because you know what? It's a guess. It's like you telling them what the Powerball numbers are going to be. In fact, a wise guy said, forget predicting the future. Rather, understand the present. Now, that wasn't Einstein. That was actually my quote. I just used the picture to add credibility. And he looks a little bit like Bill Murray, too. So. Number four, powerful conversations come from powerful questions. I believe in asking questions because here's why. This is the key to working with people. The first thing is we have to understand what they see. What do they mean, I don't want to buy because I think the market's going to crash? What does that mean? We don't know unless we ask questions, right? I'll give you an example. Picture me playing with my dog. I want you to picture me playing with my dog. I promise you, if you were listening, every one of you have a different picture. What's the probability your picture matches mine?
Pretty small, I'd say.
So if you wanted clarity, what might you ask me? Somebody asked me a question. Tom?
What kind of dog do you have?
It's a red golden retriever. There's one.
Where are you playing?
In my yard. See?
Male or female?
Do you think?
I'm a male. We're not allowed to ask anymore, are we? No, it's a girl. It's a girl. Yes?
Do you think you look like Thor?
I do.
So you.
So let me ask, here's the picture. That's not my dog. It's just a dog I found on the internet. However, nobody had that picture in your mind. You've got to practice asking questions. That's why a canned 1-minute speech script does not work. You don't know what I mean. That's step one. Here's the second step. Help them see what they're not seeing. For every decision they make, not to buy or to buy, not to list or to list, there's the other side of the coin. When you work with buyers, take it to the bank. The very first question you should ask them, do you own or rent? Because if they are renting, they are guaranteed. They've just walked into a casino and are playing the only machine that says, understand, this machine will never pay you.
That's right.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Number 5, understand the physics of real estate. This is a true story, and I'm ashamed to admit it happened in Lee County. The house is not the actual house, because I didn't want to embarrass an owner or an agent, particularly the agent. Can you imagine this listing? This house originally went on the market in 2015. It's not that house, so that'd be a pretty good buy. It was a house, I'm just using it as a placeholder. The numbers are real. $136,000. Then it didn't sell in 2016. What do they do? And how many have you had sellers say, well, it's not selling, I guess we're too low, let's raise the price. So they raised the price to $155, didn't sell. Next year they raised it to $175. 2018 it's $250, 2019 it's $250, 2020 it's $280. It's in the MLS, it's documented. I'm not making this up. 2021 they raised it to $295. In 2022, at last count, it was $325. 1,900 days on the market.
Wow.
The seller should have fired the listing agent. However, he couldn't because the seller was the agent. So I don't have time to get into it now. However, what I want to do as I close is this. Because I've already made the 6th point. I don't believe we set prices in any market, and it's going to be very dangerous. How many of you have done your very best? You've done a CMA. You've run it through a supercomputer somewhere that NASA uses. You've come up with your best guess of market value. You put it on the market, it sells for $40,000 over. We may start having it the other way. I believe in setting expectations, not setting prices. I don't do CMAs and tell sellers what they should sell it at. I don't put my fingerprints on a price. I counsel them by asking questions. Is there any long timer in here who's been in a regular market that you've given them a price and then you had to go and tell them they had to lower it from the price you gave them? It's better, you're better off being waterboarded than doing that, right? So, at some point in time, I'm happy to come back and do a kind of a, we're practicing this as our team, and Gary Keller says there's 5 things we should be doing every day. Lead generate, lead follow-up, set appointments, negotiate contracts, and practice the role play. If you're not practicing every day the questions you should be asking, the conversations you should be having, then you're not growing. You had better start doing that. That is a daily staple with our team, 8:30 to 9, 4 days a week. Number 19 is be the plumb line. So when I look at Charlotte County and I look at basically, okay, so you see 2019 has 5,000 homes. Right now, in fact, here it is. We're 13% up on the number of sales from 2019 year to date. So our market's not down, you guys, from rational. We're up 13%. Do you understand the difference in what's going on? You guys need this perspective. Thank you so much for your time. I'm happy to help you.
Wow, was that helpful for you? Absolutely. Let's give him another hand. That was great.